and you are telling me whether young people are willing to do this, I agree with Habib, is that the question of pending bill has been a challenge, a big challenge, but we'll also appreciate what the government is doing right now. As you are all aware, there is a task force headed by the former Auditor General, Edward Ouko, which is looking into that, trying to require those pending bill and to ensure that they get sorted out as soon as possible. But also going forward, we're also making a case for AGPO. Part of enforcing of AGPO is for us to ensure that we come out with an agreed credit period. You know, let's say if it is 60 days, or 90 days mark, because you see, if we are going to advance credit to these young people, assuming they're going to borrow the Hustler Fund or the Youth Fund or the Kenya Industrial Estate Loan to put into the tender, and they have a grace period of about 60 days before they start repayment of that credit facility, but then they have done their supplies, and what you're doing is that you're not paying them on time, you're actually sinking them deeper into poverty, and sometimes you're sinking them into the grave, because we've had stories of entrepreneurs, especially young people, some of them who have resorted to suicide, because you see, they cannot stand the shame that comes with, you know, being followed up and down because of, you know, having some unrepaid loans here and there. But so those is part of enforcement. So we are working out, and I can assure you is that from where I sit as an accounting officer, we've been reminded, and you're being reminded. Like, for example, in this financial year, the government has made it clear and keeps on communicating and reminding from time to time with circular. First of all, we must make sure there is zero fault audit. And part of that is that we do not have some resolve also pending bills. So we are really working on that.
I'm sure
and let me tell you, how do you do that? You do that by ensuring that you can only procure, first of all, when you have the budget, if you budgeted for. It should not come as something that you just thought of, you'll procure and then you budget. You can only procure when there is a budget. So there is that, the budgetary discipline that has been instilled in us. And I think from last financial year when we came in, this financial year and the coming years, I want to assure Kenyans that this question of pending bills is going to be an issue of us. We are really working on it.
We are looking at, you know, the...
Yes, there are a lot of reforms around that space. No, I'm saying in the coming years, we are going to resolve this. And we are all waiting for the report from the task force that is working on it, so that also to look at what are these pending bills. There are some which are not genuine, and of course we know. Because there are some which are genuine, so we try to isolate them.
The other thing would be, I mean, young people do not go borrowing, I think, up to 20 million. Is there a way of expediting and saying, okay, these small amounts, there's, you know, that Habib was talking about, these young people who are trading, I'm sure it's not maxes of 10 million or thereabouts, to be able to expedite so that they are able to, you know, repay and still borrow, so that then the credit score is also not that.
Part of the reason why Hustler Fund is there is actually to give these young people an opportunity to access higher. Listen, you know, let me tell you, if you can be trusted with 500 shillings, you can also be trusted with 10 million. Because it means you are borrowing for a reason. And then Hustler Fund gives you now that credit rating. From there, you get graduated to other financing opportunities. Like now, within even the government space, I've said we have Youth Enterprise Fund, which now it is doing LPO financing among the young people. So now, if you have emerged from the Hustler Fund, this personal loan, you're borrowing 500 shillings, blah, blah, and you're paying well. We just that credit scoring, if we can trust it, you can actually now go to Youth Enterprise Fund on the basis of that and borrow for LPO financing.
Brilliant.
Then, of course, we're also working on market guarantee. We want to make sure, and market guarantee also comes with how prompt do you pay, you know. So the county governments, the MDS, we're all having this conversation, because even for the county governments, these young people do not just belong to the national government. They belong to even to the county governments. They are Kenyans. And even in the private sector, the pending bills are not just in government. They are also rife in the private sector. So we're also having that conversation to ensure that the only way that we can encourage young people to take up entrepreneurship opportunity is when they are guaranteed with a market. And for them to be guaranteed with a market, the prompt payment is a factor. And then also secondly, is just a question of also information sharing. How do we share information about opportunities which are there? So we are really enforcing that. So for us in our sector, in our State Department, for us, we've come up with indicators. It is not about how many, you know, like how many, youth-owned AGPO, certificate did you consider? We actually want to see those young people. We're also doing M&D to look